Hi guys, and welcome back to the latest video. In chapter 323 of My Hero Academia, it seems the traitor has finally been revealed in a masterful fashion by Horikoshi. And wow, I know there have been theories going around a long time about the traitor, and at times it seems the plot point was kind of left off or forgotten, but here we see Horikoshi come full circle. But before we dive in, if you haven't already, please drop a subscription. I'm pushing for 1,000 subscribers by 2022, and given the recent traction, I really think we can do it. With any good case on determining a traitor or a mole, let's establish the origin of this traitor theory. The traitor theory first is brought up within chapter 83, with President Mike discussing that it is absolutely clear that Yue has a mole, particularly in reference to the incident in which the villain somehow got word of the student's location, and thereby abducted Bakugo. According to President Mike, only teachers and the Pussycats knew about the training location, and President Mike states that it's possible a student could have used the GPS function on their phone and revealed their location to the villains, and the teachers go back and forth discussing how they can't prove any of their own innocence, nor the students. Nezu chimes in stating that he has no clear way of proving his own innocence, but that he trusts everyone on the staff. Nezu seems to have been hiding in plain sight. On the surface, it seems he is merely being reasonable in stating that it's silly to point fingers on the traitor or accuse anyone, but completely states he doesn't have an alibi. Let's establish his motive. In chapter 66, we learn about Nezu in his past. Nezu states that he knows exactly what to destroy to set off ideal chain reactions, and he seems to be a masterful tactician. And we learn that Nezu's quirk, High Specs, is one that gives him above human intelligence, and that there is no one like him in the entire world, which would make him an ideal candidate for someone to be able to pull this off of being a traitor in plain sight. Nezu is an animal, and we see he's an outlier of animals because he manifested a quirk, especially one of this caliber. It's stated that Nezu was toyed with by humans in all sorts of ways in the past, and he lets out his anger and his frustration towards humanity in training games like this. Clearly, he holds a grudge towards humans for experimenting on him and likely prodding him endlessly, as he is such a quirk anomaly. He clearly has a motive and a grudge towards humankind. However, for roughly 160 chapters, this mole theory is completely untouched on, but it reappears in chapter 242. We see Nezu discuss the Commission's other program, within keeping the students in dormitories for months now to determine if there was any leak of intel, and that it's been determined there was no suspicious behavior from any one of the students. In other words, no students are spying for the League of Villains, thereby crossing out all of the students whom were originally suspected. This narrows our search for the traitor, and I for one really didn't expect Nezu until Horikoshi masterfully laid out Nezu's suspicious actions within chapter 323. We learn that Yue now has a defense system comparable to Tartarus, with various tunneling systems that act as a defense mechanism to bring students and civilians away from the danger that is sensed. The new defense system is similar to the Infinite Castle from Demon Slayer to me. It seems like it's made for the villains not to make it in, but it's also difficult or impossible for the students or civilians to get out. This whole UA defense system also sounds like a great way to trap and separate the heroes, which is the last thing we would want in an all-out assault versus the League of Villains. Tokoyami mentions that how could Nezu have possibly determined to put these countermeasures in place before Shigaraki's quirk awakening even took place, which is absolutely spot on. There's no way anyone could have predicted this far in advance. And Nezu responds, saying there was no evidence back then, it was purely intuition. Nezu does have super intelligence, but if he has the intuition to predict something of this caliber, that'd be amazing. But how could he possess the intelligence to essentially see the future, but not the intelligence to determine the original traitor at hand? That's because he is the traitor, and he's in plain sight acting as an ultimate good to students, teachers, and civilians. Nezu in chapter 323 states in an internal monologue that lack of understanding and lack of empathy, that we are only one step away from both, and that people are unable to take the steps to escape our fate. It's really ominous of what he's saying here, but what I believe he's referencing is that people are unable to take the steps to escape the fate of what society's coming to, and additionally, quirk singularity. That people lack the understanding of his and the League's motives. This is absolutely god-tier writing by Horikoshi, and for him to bring up this point and then discuss it hundreds of chapters later shows that he was really trying to make this a giant reveal and a giant surprise, because I for one really didn't expect it. This new UA system is set up to be a death trap, and it may just be the final battle stage for what will come to the conclusion of our story within My Hero Academia. I can see it now. Many of the students completely split up due to the defense mechanism, and as a result, having to take each of their independent battles versus one of the members of the League of Villains, obviously with Deku likely versus All For One and Shigaraki. This chapter really provided us with some groundbreaking news, and it's entirely a testament to Horikoshi as one of the top mangakas of our generation. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me any feedback you have below and let me know what you think. As always, have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you all next time.